Level 1, the private. You're 19. 3 weeks ago, you were working a collective farm outside Kharkov. Now, the state needs you for something else. June 22nd, 1941, Operation Barbarossa. 3.2 million Germans crossed the border along a 2,900-kilometer front. Nobody warned you. Stalin had 84 warnings. He ignored every one. The largest invasion in human history, and you found out when the bombs started falling. You're handed a Mosin Nagant rifle, 50 years old. It works, mostly. 1 in 3 men next to you gets no weapon at all. You're told to follow the man in front and pick up his rifle when he dies. This is not a metaphor. This is the actual order. Your pay is 17 rubles a month. 3 weeks of training. The Germans trained for years. A political officer arrives. He carries a pistol and a notebook. The notebook matters more. By the end of 1941, 3.8 million Soviet soldiers are prisoners. 600,000 captured at Kiev alone. Most will die in open fields in the snow. You don't know this yet. You just know that men keep disappearing. You survived the first winter. That puts you in a minority. Level 2, the senior private. You're 20. You've been promoted for one reason. You're still alive. You've learned the real geography of this war, where the NKVD checkpoints are, which commissars will shoot you for retreating, and which ones will just threaten it, how to sleep in snow without dying. You've also learned about Order 270. Any Soviet soldier who surrenders is a traitor, not a prisoner, a traitor. Their families lose state benefits. Their wives can be arrested. You think about this every time you run low on ammunition. The Germans are outside Moscow. The temperature is -40. Their supply lines stretch across half a continent. Yours are short. This is the first advantage you've had. Level 3, the junior sergeant. You're 21. You lead a squad. 10 men. You've survived long enough to be trusted with other people's lives, which mostly means you've survived long enough to be blamed when they die. Now you learn the real rules. There are 2 enemies, the Germans in front and the NKVD behind. The blocking detachments, the Zagrodotriady, position themselves behind your unit with orders to shoot anyone who retreats without authorization. Soviet soldiers whose job is to shoot other Soviet soldiers. You've seen it happen. You say nothing. Order 227. July 1942. Not one step back. Stalin signs it himself. Unauthorized retreat is punishable by death. It creates the Strafbat, the penal battalions. Soldiers who retreat, question orders, or get denounced for any reason are sent to clear minefields and lead frontal assaults on fortified positions. The theory is they redeem themselves through blood. You explain the geography of consequences to your men. Step forward, the Germans will probably kill you. Step back without orders, the NKVD will definitely kill you. Level 4, the sergeant. You're 21. It's autumn 1942. You're in Stalingrad. There is no front line in Stalingrad. There are buildings. Each building is a front line. Your unit controls the top 2 floors of a factory. The Germans control the bottom 2. The city has been bombed so thoroughly that the rubble protects you better than the buildings did. You learn to love ruins. The average life expectancy of a Soviet soldier newly arrived in Stalingrad is days. You've been here 6 weeks. This makes you ancient. The replacements arriving by boat across the Volga at night look at you the way the living look at ghosts. You control 30 men. You've stopped counting the ones who cycle through. You count the ones still standing at the end of each day. February 2nd, 1943. The Germans surrender at Stalingrad. 300,000 entered the city. 91,000 surrender. 6,000 make it home after the war. You don't celebrate. There's no time. The front just moved. Level 5, the master sergeant. You're 22, senior enlisted man. Officers give orders. You make sure the orders connect to reality. The army that exists now is not the army from 1941. The T-34 is being produced faster than the Germans can destroy them. Lend-Lease is arriving from America. 400,000 American trucks. You fought the first 2 years on foot. Now you ride. The officer corps is recovering from what Stalin did to it. In 1937 and 1938, the purges removed 35,000 officers, 3 of 5 marshals, 13 of 15 army commanders, shot or sent to gulags, because Stalin feared a coup more than he feared incompetence. The army that met the Germans in 1941 was commanded by men terrified of their own leader. That's why the first 6 months happened the way they happened. Now the survivors have learned. Zhukov, Rokossovsky, who commanded the defense of Stalingrad after being released from a gulag 3 years earlier with broken teeth and broken fingers from his interrogation. These men understand war and have survived understanding it. You send 2 men to the penal battalion this year. 1 for theft, 1 for saying something about the commissar that the commissar heard. The paperwork already exists. You fill it out. Level 6, the lieutenant. You're 23. Before the purges, Soviet officers needed academy training and years of service. By 1943, they need a pulse and a record. The NKVD hasn't flagged. You command a platoon. The political officer watches you. You watch him. Early in the war, he could countermand your orders. The system has been reformed since then, but the notebook is still there. German snipers are trained to eliminate Soviet officers first. You stop saluting your superiors in the field. You stop doing anything that makes you visually distinct from the men around you. The life expectancy of a frontline lieutenant in active engagement is measured in days. You file this in the part of your mind where you keep things that are true but useless to think about. You lead your platoon forward. You come back with fewer men. You're given replacements. You go forward again. Level 7, the captain. You're 25. 4 years of survival, which gives you a statistical rarity that other officers treat like superstition. Summer 1944. Operation Bagration. 2.3 million Soviet soldiers. 5,200 tanks. The largest land offensive in human history. The planning is sophisticated in ways that were impossible in 1941. Deception operations. The Germans don't know where the attack is coming. When it comes, Army Group Center is destroyed. 17 divisions annihilated. 50 generals captured. The Germans lose more in 2 months than they lost at Stalingrad. You're good at this now. Not good in a way that makes you feel anything. Good in the technical sense. You know how to read terrain, how to coordinate with artillery, how to preserve your company's strength and spend it only when necessary. This knowledge cost you 4 years. And most of the people you started with. Level 8, the Major. You're 26, battalion commander, 800 men. You're in Poland, then East Prussia, then Germany itself. The war has a momentum now that feels almost geological. The front moves west whether you push it or not. You coordinate between companies. You deal with logistics through destroyed country. You receive orders and pass them down, and the machine moves. January 1945. Soviet forces cross into Germany. The men around you react in ways that 4 years of watching human behavior have prepared you to understand, and that you will never describe in any official report. You keep moving. West. Always west. Level 9. The Colonel. You're 27. April 1945. Berlin. 2.5 million Soviet soldiers. 6,250 tanks. The final assault on a city of rubble, defended by boys and old men. The battle for Berlin kills 80,000 Soviet soldiers in the final days of a war that's already decided. Because Stalin wants Berlin before the Americans arrive. The race matters more than the lives. You've understood this logic for years. May 8th. Surrender. You're standing in the ruins of a city that 12 million people used to live in. You thought about this moment sometimes. In Stalingrad, in the winters. You thought there would be something. There is. It's quieter than you expected. Level 10. The Veteran. May 9th, 1945. Victory Day. 27 million Soviet citizens are dead. Your mind stopped processing them as numbers years ago. You process them as places. A village outside Kharkov, a factory floor in Stalingrad, a street in Berlin. You come home. If your village still exists, the people in it may not. The state gives you a medal. It also watches you. You've seen how ordinary Germans lived. Saying so out loud can get you sent to the gulag. You get a pension worth less than a factory worker. You wait 7 years for an apartment. There are victory parades and heroic posters. All of it is true. None of it is the whole truth. In 1991, the Soviet Union dissolves on television. The state you bled for stops existing one afternoon in December. Your medals are still real. The 27 million are still dead. The uniforms are folded. The rifles are in museums.